All of these great dishes made today were very popular in the far west region during the 1920s and 30s. Migration west pushed many people to this area, mostly California. There was cheap labor land, and agriculture was still a booming business throughout California. Gross associations often used Filipino laborers to create cheap labor for their businesses. This was an attempt to stay away from white worker unions across the West Coast. This eventually led to racial tensions between whites and Filipinos due to the animosity whites had because they were taking their jobs. Also, the oil boom brought more migrants to California. Oil exploded in the LA area during this time period and created more jobs, rapid urbanization, and an economy booming. With the economy boom, this made the far west region crash more hard during the Great Depression. The West Coast region had hot, dry summers with mild winters. This created a variety of food that was made in the West Coast region during this time. Coastal regions relied on fish and seafood, while the valley created much of its produce. Fruit and salad was a very common option as a side dish, while beef and chicken was a very common protein. The variety created a very delightful cookbook for our West Coast region, which our contestants executed very good today.
Welcome to our historical cooking show. Today I am your host Agnes Walsh, and I have 4 very competitive contestants today. Each of them will be showing their own dish and the true meaning behind them. So our first contestant is Rebecca Zarazura.
Today I prepared tamales, which can be made by 1 leg of hamburger seared in bacon grease, grinded through a fine meat chopper, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, salt, spread on the corn husk that has to be 1/4 of an inch thick. Put in the meat mixture, roll up the ends, and you steam it for 1.5 hours. These tamales are prepared differently because the traditional way is to use maseca. But in this case, since there was limited resources, they had to use filler type ingredients, which was the hamburger buns. They did this because it was a substitution of poor to approximately rich foods. The 4 areas of the West had their own particular differences that the Native Americans had to adapt to. This resulted in many different cultures. The common aspect is that these people were almost exclusively hunting and gathering. So as people in the far west improved their archaic adaptations, they were sometimes met with climatic change, which resulted in a social-political crisis, including the migration of new people. I should choose my dish because it adds a bit of culture in a dinner table, since it originated from Mesoamerica. Initially, women were taken into battle as army cooks, where they were used by the second to make tortillas, stews, meats, and drinks. The tamales will be prepared easily and can be warmed as needed.
Our next contestant is Emma Walker.
Today I have made for you a pineapple sherbet, which is a Far West Pioneer favorite ice cream made with crushed pineapple, milk, and cream. This is a summertime favorite for adults and kids alike, and it was very easy to make and make in large quantities. This is an easy recipe to make because the pineapple was shipped specifically to the Far West, so it was easier for the Far West colonists to participate in this recipe because the pineapple from Hawaii was shipped specifically there.
And our final contestant is Helena Puloa. And I have provided you guys with some Hot Point tiki, which is very easy to make, and it only consists of flour, sugar, butter, milk, eggs, and vanilla extract. And here is my final product. I added some fruits on the side, to make it look better, because in the Far West region, it gets very hot. So throughout the day, like during lunch, people would usually prefer to eat lighter meals like salads or fresh fruits due to the hot weather. And the simplicity of making this cake makes it easier for pioneers and people who move around a lot, because it's easy to make, and since they always are on the move, it would be more convenient for them to use less ingredients than more.